Hey, I'm Jai, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about how to run a profitable wedding photography business. Now, if you've been in the game for a long time or you're just starting, you're gonna wanna tune in. And if you wanna thrive, not just survive, then today is for you. We're talking about profit, making money in our business, goal setting, and a whole bunch of things that you're not gonna find anywhere else. So let's get into it. Wait. Before we get into it, a little disclaimer. A lot of the information in this video, you're not gonna find anywhere else on YouTube. Some of it may seem complicated, but trust me, everything's simple, everything's figure-outable. Let's kick things off with one of the biggest questions that I get asked all the time. How much should I make to become a full-time wedding photographer? Well, here's the thing. You can't just aim for comfortable income. It doesn't work like that. You're not an employee anymore. You're a business owner, and businesses need to make money. They need to make money the same as a fire needs oxygen. Depriving a business from wanting to make as much money as it can is depriving a fire from its oxygen. So this is not about you and how much money you make. It's about what is it actually going to take to bring your services to those that love what you do for years to come. Now, don't get me wrong, we want to make a good wage after all expenses and taxes and everything else. And here's the thing though, only you know the answer to that. So I want to ask you the question, what will it take for you to become a full-time wedding photographer? Or if you already are a full-time wedding photographer, when you're thinking about how much you need, set unrealistic goals. I'm serious. Your business is either going to expand or contract to the size of your goals, and it's going to set the tone for everything. If you play small, your business is going to stay small. If you go big, let's say you want to make 200,000, 300,000 in your business or more, you will push yourself to reach those milestones and your business is going to grow into that vision. You're giving that oxygen back to your business. All right, let's talk about profit. This is where a lot of photographers get stuck because we're so focused on, booking our next shoot or capturing the photo or the next booking or whatever it is. But we forget that profit is actually the key to sustainability. Profit is what allows you to keep going, reinvest in your business, and most importantly, continue to serve your clients at a very high level for years to come. Your business, if it isn't profitable, you're one bad month away from burnout or even worse, going under. Unfortunately, most photographers are actually not profitable. They live day to day, week to week, and they have a living wage, yes, but at the end of the financial year, they actually don't have any money left. And I don't want this to happen to you. So let's go over these next steps to make sure it doesn't. Now, when we're talking about profit, we need to understand the difference between gross profit and net profit. Gross profit is your revenue minus the cost of goods sold. Things like your second shooter, it could be a wedding album, it could be the editing that you outsource to, the software that you use, whatever it is for the job itself that you actually deliver on, right? Net profit is all of that plus all your other expenses. And I'm talking about your rent, maybe it's your car, maybe it's your fuel to get somewhere, maybe it's your studio hire, maybe it's could be a whole lot of different software, things like that. So it's your overall everything in your business. Your gear, your marketing, your travel, your taxes, and the list goes on. And it's also your own wages as well. You really do need to know these numbers because it gives you a clear picture of the health of your business. So how do we actually explain money when it comes to running your wedding photography business? Well, here's a simple breakdown, and I'm going to use poker chips to help me out. So your business brings in revenue. When you're out and about, there's lots and lots of jobs that you do and you market all the time, and you're trying to bring in more and more income. So each one of these represents a job. So for instance, if you're a wedding photographer, maybe that there is a $3,000 job for you. Now, as the year goes, you start booking more work and you start collecting more revenue. The revenue in your business is now collected and you have all of this money. Well, the first thing we need to do is we've got to deduct some wages. So this is for you. Wages is your money and it's not the business's money. So now with this money over here, you pay your rent, you pay your electricity bill, gas bill, going to the movies, traveling, whatever it is. But that is your wages. Next up, of course, we have expenses. Let's say over here, I have maybe a course. I've got the 6-figure business map. That's over here. I've got some travel. I have some, what else have I got over here? I've got some camera equipment. So that gets bigger and bigger. Then my next big expense, of course, is going to be, well actually, cost of goods sold. So let's say over here, it's cost of goods sold, which means second photographer, it might be a wedding album. Cost of goods sold are the things that directly you sold to make that money. So next up, we have taxes. So a big portion of your money is going to go to taxes there. And what you're left over with is your chips of profit. So here is the profit of your business. After you've paid yourself, you've paid the tax man, you've paid for your courses, for your gear, for all the things. You paid your second photographer, your VA, all the cost of goods sold, and then you're left with profit. Let's be real. We've all made this mistake. I made this mistake for the longest time, where I mixed all my business money with my personal money, and I spent all my business money. Now, this is a huge mistake, and it's actually a bad habit to get into. So one of the things that I want you to avoid when we're making a profitable business is to never, well, try to never, but I'm sure you're still going to, spend your business's profit and actually give yourself a wage. So your wage is not your profit. Your wage is separate to your business's money, and your business's money is there for you to use to grow your business, which is like investing in education or running some ads or doing some marketing or getting some new gear and things like that. And your personal money is for running your actual life, which is maybe going to the cinema or food, rent, all those type of things. Now, whether you give yourself $50 an hour, $20 per day, like I did when I first started, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how small it is. And I think the habit that you want to create is that you consistently and constantly keep giving yourself a wage, even if it's just the smallest amount, because that habit is the thing that's going to grow your business into a big profitable business. So when I first started, honestly, I gave myself $20 a day, and I ate 2-minute noodles, and I had to make a lot of sacrifices. I had to move in with some housemates and get rid of my TV and do all these things. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I made that choice because I wanted a business that was profitable. I did whatever I had to do to make that happen. So the profit at the end of the year is your bonus. It's the money that your business actually made after your wage and everything like that. So the money that you actually made. It's the money we can reinvest in our business. It's the money that we can use to scale. It's the money that opens up so many different opportunities and things. And the health of your business is how much profit does your business actually make. So wages, profit. Jai, how do I calculate my wages? Good question. Now, when we're calculating our wages as a wedding photographer, it's important to break it down, and here's a method that's going to ensure sustainability. So even during the off season, this is how I want you to approach it. Number one, calculate your minimum survival wage. Now, don't forget you can increase this down the track. So start by working out how much you actually need per week to cover your living expenses. This includes your rent, your mortgage, your food, your utilities, your insurance, your kids, like daycare, whatever it is, but make sure you're honest and you put in all of those little subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, whatever it is, okay? Now I want you to multiply that by the number of weeks in the year to ensure you can pay yourself throughout the entire year, not during your busy season only, okay? So this is going to give you a base wage, and then from there you're going to see if you can survive throughout the whole year. This is really important. When I first did this and I paid myself $20 a day, the reason why I came to that number is because I couldn't stop paying myself $20 a day all year round. It's about sustainability all year. So if you only work 6 months of the year, like a lot of wedding photographers do, you're actually going to get a wage all year long, and you're going to get out of that feast and famine mode where all of a sudden you're struggling because you've got no work coming in. Now, number two, I want you to test this plausibility. Once you have your survival wage, ask yourself, is this wage actually sustainable? Can your business consistently pay you this amount of money both through the busy season and through the off season? And if not, we need to adjust. We need to adjust the wage, or maybe we need to adjust our living expenses. That's something that I did personally. I got rid of my TV, my subscriptions. I actually got rid of my car. I worked out how could I be frugal, and the most important thing for me was actually to run a business and live my dream, not for me to be comfortable at that stage. Remember, when we first create a business, it's not about earning, it's about learning. It's about creating, and that was the most important thing for me. Now, number three, factor in the cost of outsourcing. Now, this is a really important one, so really listening, get in close. How much would I have to pay somebody else to do the same job? And I'm talking about every job. Whether it's editing, client communicating, marketing, sales, every single task is essentially a job in your business. And you need to pay yourself for every job that you do. The reason being is because your business needs to run without you, and the business has given you a job. And you get to choose whether you want to do those or you want to delegate it or outsource it. But if you want to grow a sustainable business and a profitable business, you need to pay yourself for those tasks that you do. So for instance, if I'm hiring an editor and it costs, like, let's say it costs me $50 an hour, then that's a benchmark for me. I need to be paying myself $50 an hour when I'm performing that task. Does that make sense? If you get lost, comment down below and I can help you out. Number 4, tally it all up. Add up all the hours you spend on each task and apply a fair wage to each. This will give you a clear picture of what you should be paying yourself for the work that you actually do. This method is going to ensure you're not undervaluing yourself and that you're paying yourself a wage that reflects the true cost of running your business. Because if you don't do this, honestly, you'll end up at the end of the year thinking that you had a big profitable year and there won't be any money there. And it's because you work for minimum wage, and we don't want to be in that situation. Now let's talk about the numbers that you need to know to run a wedding photography business. These numbers, don't get overwhelmed. These numbers are very important, but you might not learn them all straight away, and that's totally fine. Come back to this video as many times as you need. You're probably not going to learn this anywhere else on YouTube right now, or probably anywhere else. And a lot of people don't talk about this because, hey, we love to be creative. We don't like to talk about numbers, but empowering ourselves with these numbers is really going to help and change the game. So even if you're a creative, you're going to tune out right now, at least if I share these with you, you can choose whether you want to learn them or not. So number 1, customer lifetime value, CLV. This is how much revenue you can expect to generate from a single client over the course of your relationship with them. So for example, if you shoot a couple, let's say a wedding for $5,000, but later they hire you for an anniversary session or a family photo session, or even they refer you to a friend. Now that CLV might grow to $10,000. So always think long-term about your clients. Don't just focus on the initial booking and what they're actually booking you for. Now, number 2, the average CLV. This one's very similar, a little bit different. If you want to understand how much the average customer is worth to your business, you would calculate the average CLV across all your clients. It's a much easier way to predict your actual business and how much you're actually going to make. So I'll give you an example of that. It's instead of working at each job, it's working out how much average does everybody spend across the board, and then you know around abouts every single time you get a client, you're making roughly this much money. Now, next one's conversion rate, CR. This is how many inquiries turn into bookings. Now, an example, if 100 people inquire about your services and only 5 of them book your services, your conversion rate is 5%. If you get that conversion rate up just by a little bit by improving something in the process, maybe your email, maybe your sales or your client call, whatever it is, you can dramatically increase that conversion rate. Next one, cost per acquisition, CPA. This one's a really important one that no one ever talks about. This is how much it costs to bring in a new client. So let's just say you spend $500 on Facebook ads and that results in 2 more bookings. Then your cost per acquisition is $250 per client, right? If your average booking is $3,000, then that's a great return. But if your CPA is too high, compared to the average booking, it means your marketing might not be as efficient as it could be. And don't get me wrong, so many photographers say they don't pay for acquisition and they just use organic, things like that. Hey, but you're always paying for acquisition. If you are using billable hours to create content, it costs you money. And you can calculate exactly how much it costs, working on how many hours of output do I have to do to get 1 lead. Okay, let's talk about budgeting. So one thing over the course of my lifetime, I've actually had multiple businesses and I've ran 6-figure businesses and 7-figure businesses. And I've been able to make quite a lot of money across all the different businesses, and I've learned a lot of things. And one thing, well, also I get a lot of bad advice. One thing that I get taught a lot, or people tell me, is to budget or to save costs. Like, you've heard this advice before, like, don't go get a coffee because over your lifetime you could have bought 10 houses. All terrible advice. I want to show you a different way of thinking about budgeting. When you're budgeting, let's say for instance, you've gone out there, these are all the jobs that are all around you in your city, and you've gone out there and you've booked 4 jobs, and let's say that's $20,000, so $5,000 each job. This is your money right here. What happens is when we go into that frugal, like scarcity mindset and we're trying to save, what happens is we look at how much money we have right here, we put the blinkers on like this, and we get stuck in our lane and we try and save a little bit of money. But guess what happens? You can't save yourself to riches. You can't save yourself to more money in your business, really. You're limited to how much money you've actually just made there. What I've seen is a lot of people put so much time and effort and energy into saving that little bit more, driving that little bit further for the cheaper gas, or going to that other restaurant that's way further away because it's a bit cheaper, whatever it is. And we stop doing the thing that actually makes our business profitable, making more money. That same time and energy that you put into trying to save that little bit of money that you made, you need to put it into making more money. And if you can make more money, then it matters less how much you save. So every time I've got a money issue and I want to join a new course, let's say I want to join the Business Map, I want a new camera, I want a vacation or something. It's not about being frugal and saving. I'm like, I need to earn more. My business needs more. We're expanding, we're growing. I just employed somebody, I got a VA, I have something going on, but I need to expand what I'm doing, not contract. So yes, I'm not saying, be silly and go out there and just buy a whole bunch of things or waste your money. You need to know what you're doing with it. But I do think too much energy and effort's been put on to saving and more needs to be put on to growing. Really important, I think. Anyway, last little tip before we go. It's really important that when we have that profit at the end of the day, that we reinvest it back in our business, however that is. But even just saving a small percent. When I get profit at the end of the year in my business, I like to celebrate, go out and go traveling or buy myself something new or whatever it is. But I like to keep a percentage of it for the next year so I can keep growing and keep bringing in leads. And if you can do that, each year you can grow it just a little bit more and you can bring in more leads as well. So I hope today has helped you in some way. Last little thing, I want to just give a shout out to my coaching and course, 6-Figure Business Map. This is for wedding photographers. And if you want to join, all you have to do is simply apply. There's a link down below. I'd love to hear from you. I personally go over your website and everything else, and I'll be the one to let you know if you're the perfect fit or not. But a big thank you, and I'll see you next time.